So growing up as a kid, I remember constantly having this weird experience at sports games where, let's say if we did our house tournaments in school or we played some sort of team sport, soccer, basketball. I remember watching the game and noticing that every time there's a close call, like the one team would be like, whoa, it's safe. And the other team would be like, no, it's a goal, it's a goal. And I remember thinking nobody could know. And then you see the same thing, you see the same thing in professional sports. You see like it's a close call in baseball, and everybody in the home team is like, he's out, and everybody on the opposing team is safe. And all of them, all that reveals. I remember as a kid, and certainly now passively watching most sports, so I don't support any of the teams. I remember thinking that all this shows is like the capacity of humanity to delude themselves and to like the desire to connect to a team is so strong that we'll lie about it. We'll lie to once we personify, once we get attached to that team, we'll lie and we'll delude ourselves into believing that they're right. And I think what I want to achieve with this show, much of the show is to break that. Certainly about the political class. The political class do not deserve our loyalty at all. Um, at the best of times, certainly not the way they behave. And there is no reason to treat it like a team. And a good example of this is what happened this week. Elon Musk is in a public feud with Trump. How did this all get started? Because Elon Musk called the big beautiful bill a monstrosity. Now, spoiler alert over here, Elon is right. It is a monstrosity. It's a disgrace that the government could have pretended to be interested in cutting spending, having him, Elon, the most productive person in the world, spend 6 months of his life trying to work on the federal budget, only to have it all just have it overridden in the budget, which spends more than the post-COVID years, which have already been spending more in the pre-COVID years, which is just out of hand. And Republicans cannot pretend to care about spending if they can't even cut the pre-COVID spending levels. This is totally insane. But whatever. I agree with here. But now all the articles these days are like, whoa, whose side are you on? Whose side are you going to take? What should Elon do? Republicans are flocking to this side. Republicans are flocking to that side, and it's totally crazy. This is totally insane. Why does anyone have to pick a side? These are two babies. They're both behaving like babies. Why can't Trump and Elon have an open disagreement about a topic? Why must they agree on everything? Does Trump only want to be surrounded by people that agree with him? Does Elon want to now like burn bridges with the president? Why are they behaving like this? We don't have to excuse it because we don't they have agency. And I don't have to pretend to be on Elon's team because I love what he's done. I don't have to pretend to be on Trump's team because I thought he was better than Kamala. And this is the same thing that happened with the election. Everyone's like, "Oh, could you vote for Trump? He does this, and how could you vote for Kamala? She did this." And it's you vote for whoever supports, whoever you think best represents the issues you care about. But you don't owe loyalty to them. You're not on their team. I'm not on Trump's team. I'm not on any of his picks team. I don't have to defend Pete Hegseth when he messes up and invites a journalist onto a private chat. I don't have to defend any of their things. Why would I do that? We should hold them accountable, and that's why this country is headed for disaster. This country is headed for a major sovereign debt crisis. We just got downgraded. The borrowing costs are going to go up, and eventually the servicing of the debt will just become unsustainable. The largest cost of the next year's budget is servicing debt. Just so people understand that, it means next year we're going to spend more money on servicing debt than we are going to spend on the Department of Defense. If you think that's sustainable, you're wrong. And we have no political leaders who are doing anything besides for trying to win popularity contests or corrupt. So nobody's interested in actually fixing a problem. And nobody works together anymore. They talk about needing like a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. You don't need that. You don't need a but now every side work so hard to sabotage the other side, so you can't even end discussion until you meet that bar, because there's nobody serious in Congress anymore. There's nobody serious coming to solve any of the issues, and that's because of I guess in a way the American people are profoundly unserious when it comes to solving our own problems, solving our debt problems. So what will happen is that there's just going to end up being a crisis, because we're just not gonna work it out, because we just have no interest in electing serious people, and we have no interest and we're so interested in our teams that we are not focusing on any of the issues. The war in Ukraine is not going well for either side. Ukraine carried out a spectacular attack on Russia, and this goes to show that it's not a question of America supporting Ukraine or Ukraine being totally overrun. It is not a simple prospect for Russia to totally overrun Ukraine, just like it is impossible for Ukraine to take back eastern Ukraine. And that is why these two countries will eventually have to reach some sort of equilibrium, and America should promote the peace. But it's not America's job to keep in this conflict forever. We should never have been involved in the first place, and we certainly did a lot to cause it. But it's certainly not our responsibility to stay in it forever. And you can say, whoa, is that a Putin talking point? No, that's just a reality. The reality is Ukraine is not going to win this war. The reality is also is that Russia is not going to be able to overrun all of Ukraine, because the taking, as we've seen, taking major cities of people that don't want to be occupied is impossible. So they're going to eventually have to reach détente, and it's not going to be good for Ukraine. But that's just the reality, and it's not America's job to to continue to prop up a regime that we do not have a vital interest in. It is not. Why should we care which corrupt Vladimir or Vladimir runs Ukraine? It is not in our vital interest, and we should just promote peace, and we should get out of that conflict.